Step 2 has you creating grids by a method that simply does not exist in any way that I can find it anyway in the Lucid Press free version. If you did need to create guides in this version of the software, you do have that option. It just doesn't work in the way that it shows up in the InDesign document. If you needed to create additional grids or guides, you'd go to View. You could use a preset grid, which is basically like graph paper, by doing View and then Show Grid. That doesn't really work for us here. I'm going to turn that off. And then you could do View and you could do Guides. I currently have my guides turned on, but all I'm seeing are the margins. And those are slightly different than guides in the way that it means it here. And that's because I haven't created any yet. To create guides, you must first, in general rules, turn on the rulers. Once you have rulers, if you need additional guides, you create them by starting in the ruler area and dragging over into whatever position you're looking for. And what they're doing here is effectively they're dividing their page up into quarters. Most people find it a little easier to start in the middle. So if I were to go to 4.25, and I've got to get exactly the right place, and it's really hard to get exactly there. This is pretty close. Nope, not quite. I need to zoom in further, basically. But I would go to 4 1/4, which is half of an 8.5 inch page, and I would drop my first guide, and you'll see a guide show up on the screen, and then I would figure out what half of 4 1/4 was. It's going to be 2.5 plus 1/8, so not 2.5. It's going to be 2 plus 1/8, so 2 1/8 would be the next number I'm looking for, and 1/8 is 1.25. So again, it's really hard at the current view that I'm using to be in exactly the right place, but I would drop the guides in this particular way, and I would create them until it filled the page up. We actually don't have to have these in order to work through the assignment as we need to here, but I did just want to show you how you would go about the process of adding them and how you would do the math on where to get there. What makes this one slightly more complicated is only that, and I'm going to clear these off. So I'm going to go down to guides and I'm going to choose clear guides because mine are not in the right place. Is they're actually wanting 4 guides along this axis within the margin. So they're doing it within the 7.5 inches, because again, 8.5 minus half-inch margins on either side takes you to 7.5. So the ruler position is based off of that rather than off the standard full 8.5. Again, doesn't matter so much for this, but I did just want to mention it. So I'm going to skip down in my scenario to step 3, which is working with images. I'm going to stop and restart the video. I know anybody who's watching it's going, did you actually do anything? And the answer would be, not really. I've turned the rulers on, but that's about it. So pretty minor in terms of step approach.